All right, welcome back here as we begin hour number 2 with a very special guest as he has made his way back to the studio for the second week in a row. WAFB's own John Eads is here with us this morning. John, how are you? I appreciate you getting in here with us.
Thanks for having me again. How am I doing? Not as well as Kade Anderson.
That's for sure.
What a night, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that was beyond impressive. Talk to me about, you've obviously been able to cover the team and you got to see the preseason. A lot of people had Chase Shore slated as the Friday night guy, probably preseason, just because he's a guy you had seen a couple years ago. You knew he had good stuff. Kade Anderson takes that role, and I think last night was the blossoming of that's an ace. That is an SEC ace. Did you see that Kade Anderson's coming preseason, a guy that's able to go out there and perform at that level?
I think so, because he was the guy in the preseason stuff that looked the best. You'd go out to these scrimmages. Lloyd could probably attest to this. You were at some of them too,
yeah.
Right? And nobody else was as crisp as Kade was day after day, working through the lineup, striking guys out, just going out and getting back into the dugout quickly. Nobody else was really like that,
right,
that I recall. You saw it in spurts, but not time after time again, and that was Kade. And he's gotten really better, it seems like, every week. I know last week was kind of a step back for him, but you think about some of the situations, not to give him any excuses, but short week, you had all the rain stuff going on that week and whatnot as well. And I asked Coach after Tuesday's game, because we didn't have a media availability before the Oklahoma series, what he's seen from Kade the week leading into Oklahoma, and he said he's the best pitcher in the country, which of course he's going to say, but just super confident in what he can do. And I've seen Kade behind the scenes as well, and I have to say he's a really nice guy. He'll talk to you for probably too long, because he's got things to do. Myself, Koki Riley, Bryce Kuhn, we were in Frisco, and it was the day of, I want to say, the Nebraska game. We talked to him for 20 minutes just about whatever, you know, off to the side of the field. And eventually we were like, don't you have somewhere you have to go, and help out and stuff like that? And he was like, yeah, I guess I should probably go. He's just a super nice guy. But behind the scenes, he works extremely hard, in the weight room. So when you see that, and he kind of talks to you about his mentality of the elite standard he holds himself to, there were some pretty funny sound bites he gave us after, I think, his second appearance of the year, where he had a decent stat line, but he said something to the effect of, when I go out there, I want to strike out, 21 guys or whatever the case may be. So he's never satisfied with what he can do. I hope he was satisfied with what he did yesterday, because that was unbelievable. But he's got the stuff, man. Physically, mentally, he's the complete package, and I think you saw all of that come together for him on Thursday night.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a beyond impressive performance. And to be able on back-to-back weekends to win games in that manner, of against Mississippi State on Friday night, you win 2-1 and you get 12 strikeouts from Ianson, and now last night you go win 2-0 in Oklahoma with 14 from Anderson. How impressive is it for this team to be able to go out and win in so many different ways? To be able to go beat Mississippi State last Saturday 17-8 and scoring 8 runs in the first inning, but on Friday night and then last night winning a pitcher's duel in a low-scoring game. And if you tell me, I said it last week, if you had told me before the game, LSU's only going to score 2 runs tonight, you probably aren't feeling too confident going into that game. How impressive is it that they're able to go out there and win games like that?
Maybe you should now, though, because they've shown you twice, and they'll probably show you some more times this year that they can win a game where they only score 2 runs. And, I think their team is kind of like a computer simulation. Sometimes you might sit there, and I know I did this growing up, use some of these stupid, computer softwares where you're simulating games to see what would happen. And there's 100 different ways a game could go, It could be a shootout. It could be, a defensive game. It could be a pitcher's duel, in this case with baseball. And LSU truly has the ability to win all of those kind of games. They beat Mississippi State 8-6. They beat them 17-8, and then 2-1. In this series, they're off to a 2-0 start with the Thursday win. It wouldn't surprise me if they won a game, 9-2 with the offense. Just very complimentary, And there's a lot of doors this team can open. It's just a matter of which one they need to open to win. on a specific night. So yesterday it was the Kade Anderson door and the pitching door. They opened that. And then the offense wasn't crisp, wasn't great. Everybody was in long sleeves and the heavy coats. It's a interesting place out there in Norman.
Jake Brown looked like he was going to take out Osama bin Laden. He brought that thing from home.
Yeah.
Looked good on him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time he's been hunting.
Yeah, no, definitely not. So not a great night for the offense. But in a game like that, just like last week on Friday into Saturday morning, all you needed was a couple of guys to be good in certain spurts. So you'd get a double, a single, boom, easy run.
Right.
You get a double, sack bunt, single, there's a run. And that's all you need, So that's why I like the prospects of what this team can do. Because when you get to the regionals, you get to the super regionals, you get to Omaha, that's a lot of games. And it's against a lot of other good teams. So you're going to need to win pitchers' duels. You're going to need to win wacky games that are 10-9, and this team has all the horses to run those races, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's very impressive. Talk to me about the growth of Jared Jones. His at-bat to score that first run early in the game was beyond impressive to me, just thinking back to where he was as a freshman, where he's either hitting it out of the park or he's striking out. Now he's hanging around, fouling balls off, extending at-bats, and then pushing one to the other side to score a run and get a base hit. How much has his growth, been a major factor for this team and the way that he's been able to not go to the draft last year, come back and still grow and show that he can do even more?
I think it's been huge, and it's him, but it's also the entire team. Like last night, maybe not a great example, but this year the team collectively has been great with being patient, not chasing, driving up pitch counts, taking long at-bats, and that's what they've really prided themselves on this year. And when they've put up a lot of runs and they've been successful, everybody's doing that. Like, it's a collective buy-in. But Jones specifically, it's definitely not been just feast or famine. Like, he's getting his doubles, he's getting his singles, he's even stealing bases this year. On Tuesday, he got basically every ground ball there was.
Right.
It seemed like.
Man was not afraid. That man was not afraid to not use his glove.
Yeah.
He just bodied up both of them.
Yeah. And there's been situations where guys been running down that first baseline and he's standing there waiting for him, and it'd be sick if he just like decked him,
Just dropped his shoulder.
Because I know he's got
Two
the football
meatheads over here.
He's sizing him up like he's ready, and sometimes these guys will try to go under him or around him, and he's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But,
Another meathead that we can add to this list was Mikey. Whenever the man from Mississippi State tried to slide for the first base and dove out the baseline, and Bear had the opportunity, he's like, oh, he's gonna crush him. And I was like, no, he's not. And he's like, could you imagine?
Hey, we all think
we all want to see it.
Yeah. That's not legal in baseball, right? You can't.
He's out the baseline.
Can you shoulder check someone?
No,
No, Pete Rose put that away.
Yeah.
When he ruined that man's career in an all-star game
did,
for no reason. But hey, we got our own Danny Hustle. Hasn't ruined a career yet, except for a pitcher for Mississippi State.
That's right.
But you talked about a little bit about like Kade Anderson and kind of the belief in the team and all of that. I feel like you're hearing a lot from whether it be belief in everybody around him or like the has a bad start and everybody still believes in him. Or you see William Schmidt have an interview where he talks about the same thing. It's like, they tell me not to worry about it. I feel like this team has gone a long way from 2023, obviously national championship team, have a bunch of guys from Louisiana. Like, it felt like throw a penny in a well. You're like, this is what you would want if you're an LSU fan. Like, you want a bunch of guys from Louisiana all come together. You get your All-American boy that comes in, and Dylan Cruz, who was the best recruit LSU's ever gotten, and they win a national championship. Then you have the kind of the down year, right? Like in 2024, where there's not so much that's been kind of talked about. Like the camaraderie wasn't there because you lost a lot of those guys, Louisiana guys. This year it feels like it's back on the uptick, whether it's Jay bringing in guys from the portal that are all bought in or him doing a better job of preaching what his message is. Did you notice that early on?
I think so. Everybody just seemed really close and laid back and loose. I don't know. I mean,
it's like they know how good they are.
Yeah. And they're just goofy all the time, man. Like, everything's a joke. Like, I'll be out there filming warm-ups sometime, and I don't even notice this till I go back and look at my footage. Like, Jake Brown will, notice that, people are filming him, and he'll, tap someone's shoulder, like the oldest,
get him the old look around.
Yeah,
that's my guy. That's my move.
So they're joking around all the time, but when it comes time to, lock in and play, they do that as well. But I think that just makes the entire team better because, there's no animosities. You know that at every given time, everybody's bought in, everybody's truly supporting you. And if there was ever a year for everybody not to do that, it'd be this year because of how deep they are. And, it's baseball. Your clock's ticking. It's not kind of like some other sports like football where you could play 5-6 years, no consequence, go ball out in the league. Like these guys, given 2 to 3 years, they've got a short window to go and make money, but some of them don't really care about that. And I think this year everybody's taken that collective step back to notice, hey, there's something that we can achieve that's huge here. If we all take care of our responsibilities, whatever they may be, how large or how small. And I think the team collectively has done a great job of understanding that.
And Jay's done a great job of bringing those guys back, like whether it be the first pitch banquet, I know you were there, where you see like Tommy White come back, Dylan Cruz come back. Like they don't have to do that, but they all have houses in Baton Rouge. They love to train here. They go to Marucci. They do all this stuff because LSU's it's almost like a community where it feels like this travel ball team that won't separate itself. And to have, I'm sure they hear from those guys because they're in their ear. If you're a freshman, if you're Derek Curie, I'll go talk to Dylan Cruz, or Dylan Cruz will go talk to me. Be like, I'm listening to every word he has to say. So the culture that's being built at LSU, which has been long-standing for LSU baseball, but you still have Kevin Gosman come back, like Alex Bregman comes back. Like to have that, I feel like pays dividends, and for Jay to keep that kind of that tradition going speaks to the volume of what he understands about LSU baseball, and he's gleaned it off of Skip a little bit.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that's the most important thing to do when you're taking
a
job.
Fool.
Taking a new job and going somewhere new is understanding and appreciating the history and the culture, because that can only enhance what you do. It's not like you're coming in to create a new thing. This is the way it's always been done. Obviously, you're going to put your own spin on it, but you need to first understand and appreciate that so that you can put your own fingerprints on it.
Kiss the rings.
Yeah, exactly.
How'd you do it here?
Exactly.
Yeah, and you'd be a fool.
Yeah.
If you were going to be like, no, hey, I know what Skip built here, I'm going to do it my way. Like, that's not the way to win the favor of the LSU fan base.
Yeah.
And I think Jay has done a phenomenal job of being able to ingratiate himself into LSU community, understanding the history of it, and then also being like the first person I met here was Skip. Like, tell me how to do it.
Exactly.
A little bit. Like, I know how to win, but tell me how to win here. And I think that's the history of it, and you see it pay dividends when you get a guy like Kade Anderson who goes from a midweek guy to a Friday night guy, and I think a lot of that is Nate Yetzke. But he obviously, if you can't blame the head coach, you got to blame somebody. And he's gotten a lot of flack lately. But then you see a pitching performance like that last night, or Ianson the last 3 times he's thrown. And do you think that is warranted or not? Because I do not. I think that, yes, he's done a phenomenal job. You've seen the team. You've been behind the scenes, and how much they get off of him.
I don't think it's warranted. No,
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know how fans are, and it's not everybody's like that. My brother's like this, though, where one minute he's texting in the group chat, he's like, man, I hate this is not LSU, by the way. This is like, Alabama and Michigan and stuff like that. He's like, I hate
Upper
this
State
team.
New York.
Worst team ever. I'm not watching ever again. And then 5 minutes later, woo!
Best pitcher in America.
Yeah. So, people are just like that. I do want to say this about Nate Yetzke. I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently, and I hope, I saw it on social media, the thing about his father passing away on Thursday, I think, or
yesterday,
earlier this week. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, it was announced on Thursday, but I think it was announced on Thursday before the game.
Yeah. So I just want to give him a major hat tip, and obviously he's in all of our prayers and thoughts and prayers for his ability to still go to work. And the pitching coach plays a huge role in what happens during the game. The pitches he's calling, the way he's managing Kade, the way he's talking to Jay, the way that he's making sure all the shifts are in the correct place and stuff like that. So that's a lot to think about, while you're also dealing with personal things outside of what's going on in the game. So I just want to give him a major shout out. And, for people that want to sit there and type on the keyboard and say, oh, he needs to be fired, he's terrible, he's this and he's that, just think about, that side of him as well sometimes, especially right now. I think he does a tremendous job. You see the year-to-year improvement of these guys. Like Kade last year wasn't even starting in the second half of the year. He got in for a little bit in Hoover and was making occasional bullpen stints. Now he's going out there and throwing 130-plus pitches, a complete game, a shutout complete game. I mean, how about that for year-to-year improvement?
Right.
I mean, that's just unbelievable. And you're seeing it from other guys as well. I think there's still a little bit to be desired with Chase Shores, but there's plenty of time. And he's coming off an injury. Gage jump. That's all I'm going to say. Look where he was at this time last year. to the end of last year, and they're hoping that Chase will make that same kind of jump. Anthony Ianson was awesome last week. So I think he's doing a great job. I don't think the slander is warranted whatsoever, and this team's in a great spot.
Yeah, obviously our prayers with Coach Yeski and his family after that news was announced. My next question is about the rest of the series. How much confidence do you have now that you have one game down and it's a win and you threw one guy, and you've got guys like Kason Evans and Zach Cowan still ready to go tonight and tomorrow or however they get played? How much confidence do you have in the remainder of the series after what transpired last night?
Got to have a lot of confidence because typically it's been Anderson and then Cowan's gone on Friday. Now you've got Cowan and Evans for Saturday and Sunday. So you can kind of get, I guess creative, if you want to use that word, with how you handle the last 2 days. If Ianson goes 7, like he did, I think it was a 7 last week? He went something like that.
Yeah.
He went for a long time.
I think it was
6. He had 12 strikeouts.
Got it. Okay.
But
into the 7.
Kason came in and finished the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
He had his longest outing of the year.
Yes. Which I didn't know he had that in his bag.
Right.
But now we know that, So, you see what you get from Ianson, and by that I mean, he could dominate. Like he dominated last week. It doesn't have to be 7 innings. That's what you have Cowan and Evans for and the rest of the guys in that bullpen. So see what you can get from him, and then you go from there. You ideally would like to save one of those 2 for Sunday,
right.
I would think, because that's been a day where it's kind of been more offensively driven. But to have one of those 2 guys coming out of the pen on Sunday, I mean, that is quite a blessing.
If you could save one.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about it like during the show. Like we opened up the hour with it. Like, I hate to say it sets up for a sweep, but if you do it right and the way that they want to be doing it and everybody plays their role, I think LSU bangs tonight. Like, I think they're going to score. If they're able to play, I think they're going to score a ton of runs because you got their best bullet last night and you were still able to scratch across 2, and your biggest guys showed up. Luis Hernandez continues to be a dog. When you saw him, and people were skeptical about him, and I was telling Noah, like, we talked about him with Jared Mitchell, where he's like, that guy, you didn't bring him in for no reason. You brought him in for his bat because there's a world where Jared Jones doesn't exist.
Right.
And you got him before Jared Jones announced or didn't announce. And now that he's playing catcher, you expect some of those numbers to drop off. But if he's able to play the way he is right now, where it's doubles in the gap and homers, how do you see this lineup shaking out where I don't think there's a miss in it?
I don't think so either. That was kind of the thing with Luis. He was a DH last year, hit 23 bombs, had catching experience though. And yeah, if Jared stays, that kind of affects things in terms of where he plays. But so they knew the bat was there. The question was, could he catch at an SEC level? I think he's just about there. And then how would that affect his offense? Maybe in the beginning of the year it did a little bit, but now he's coming into form. He's finding out how to manage maybe the energy level or the focus, whatever it is, where he needs to just compartmentalize for 3 hours what he needs to do on both sides of the plate, and he's doing a great job of that. He was their guy yesterday, really. I know he didn't get knocked in. Or was he the one that scored on the Stanfield? Okay,
yep.
There you go.
Stanfield shot one the other way.
Yeah, that was huge. That's the thing about the lineup. Like, to your point, are there any misses? I don't think so, because yesterday you got your production from Derek and Jared, which you're going to get pretty much every game, right? That on-base streak continues for DC.
Every game.
We're calling him DC now.
Oh, no. Oh,
no
pressure.
That's the initials they call him.
There you go.
That he's done it. So there you go. He's looked like DC, I'd say, through 30-some-odd games. Looking good. But you move throughout the lineup. Ethan Fry's looked great in that cleanup role recently. I know it was Milam last night. Josh Pearson's had his moments. Jake Brown has been excellent at that 5 or 6 spot, wherever you want to put him. And then, maybe the one spot you have debate about is third base, whether you put Reeves or Braswell in. Reeves has been great when he's been in there. Braswell's been efficient, doing what the coaches need him to do. But top to bottom, yeah, it's an excellent lineup. And on any given day, any portion of that can have an excellent day. And on some days, like last Saturday, everybody's hitting, and you put up 17 runs, So that's the biggest thing in terms of, are they going to sweep, they're going to win this series. You love how the pitching matchup sets up, but obviously, you can't win a 0-0 game, so you need the offense to produce. They did just enough yesterday. I'd like to see them respond today better. A lot of guys hitless, and struck out a decent amount. So I'd like to see them get back on base via the walk, via hits. And this team has a knack for doing that. They might have a bad outing, but they respond immediately. They lose a game, they score 10 runs in the first inning in the next one, and vice versa. So typically what you'll see is against an ace, they'll struggle the first couple innings, not always, but sometimes, and then about the fourth, fifth inning, they make some of those adjustments. And they did when they scored the run off the Stanfield single.
Typically when they see them twice. Like the second time through the lineup,
Right.
whether it
Yes.
be Bear Jones or Curiel, who, I was saying earlier, whether he struck out or not in the first at bat, which he did, but he saw 6 pitches.
Yes.
That does numbers for you in terms of the lineup being able to. What'd you see? What'd you get? You got to see 6 different pitches, or see how the velo runs on the fastball multiple times, and then whenever they turn that lineup over again, and Bear Jones is up the second time, it's like, I know what you got.
He's got it.
Yeah.
We didn't see that yesterday, but they didn't necessarily need it. You hope you see it in game 2 here. So that's what you're looking at, I guess.
Yeah.
Wake the bats up again, and the pitching matchup sets up well. Now you just got to go out and execute the plan.
There you go. We appreciate your time this morning, getting in here, joining us once again. John Eads from WAFB. Make sure you follow him on all the social media platforms. Great content, great coverage he has coming out. Once again, we appreciate you coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Oh,
Hopefully,
we got one quick one for you from the chat.
Okay.
Andrew Messina, ask Eads, your Eads now, on what he's seeing from LSU football throughout spring camp.
Yeah. Well, it's been a little while because they didn't have practice
Last
last
thing we
Friday.
saw was Josh Williams carved out of granite.
Yeah, seriously. that was unbelievable.
Hear a pin drop.
Yeah, so happy for him. He certainly deserves all of that, and I hope someone gives him an opportunity. I hope the Detroit Lions give him an opportunity.
He's going to be a bingle.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's been a while, so I'm looking forward to getting back out there. But liking what I'm seeing, looking forward to seeing it in Tiger Stadium. That's going to be fun to see how they're looking. This kind of the projected starters against the projected starters. But I think it's a great team. I think this team has everything it needs to be a college football playoff team, not just a contender, a team. Now it's all about putting the right pieces together. So I think nothing but positivity there. And I was going to say this. I hope tonight we see a lot of balls go to the Yeti yard.
Yeah,
again.
Here we go with 50 scouts in the stands.
Bro, I picked up on that too. Every single time Texas hit a home run, even if
To
it
the
wasn't
Yeti
to
yard!
even if it was to right field,
What do you think about that,
It's
Rocket?
unbelievable.
it's probably going to find a way into the Yeti yard.
Yeah,
They
Roger
must
Cle-
have a deal where they got to say Yeti.
Roger Clemens is never going back in that.
No,
booth.
he might not live in Texas anymore.
He left.
You've spent time in the Northeast. Drew Aller. Aller?
Aller, terrible, garbage.
Okay, thank God. Okay.
Thank you.
He's awful.
He's ranked above
It's
us in
unbelievable.
everything.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm a Big Ten guy. I grew up a Michigan fan. So I've watched this guy for years. I watched him in their playoff game. I don't understand, like, on the broadcast, like, oh, this guy's made such great improvement. There was a 5-yard duck into the
right.
grass. I don't
Where?
get the
If
Drew
you're going to
Aller.
put the game in anybody's hands, it's him. Pick
Why?
six.
Yeah,
no.
interception.
He's terrible, bro. He didn't win them their game against SMU either. Their quarterback lost them that game.
Early.
Yes.
Yeah, no, he's.
Okay, good. It's
You'll
not
see.
just me.
You'll see.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
just he was like the number 1 recruit out of high school.
Right.
And all this.
He's like the highest rated player to ever make it to Penn State,
yeah,
and so
he's
been
not that guy. He's like
overblown.
Christian Hackenberg. So.
Yeah, because the ESPN article came out with the top 10 returners, and it was Klubnik, Aller, Nussmeier at 3.
Those people aren't watching film. If they are watching
you go.
film, they only watch the A&M game and made Nuss's stuff based on that. So
Right.
That's whatever. He doesn't release the barrel. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he doesn't release the barrel. That's for sure. But
Mikey and Jared are like, this has gotten way too much. We're like, y'all
yeah,
did
it's
this.
everywhere.
Just got to keep it going at this point.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what I said.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious.
Play into the bit.
100%.
That and the Yeti yard.
Oh, but that's mine. If I could murder one man, that you never. No, I don't think I've ever been that. Back.
Yeah.
I love Lynn Rollins, and
Yeah.
Lynn's great. I don't think any opposing fan has ever been like, who cares? Like the train. Okay, if that's his worst bit, it's not.
Right.
How are you, Rocket?
Rocket. Right, what do you think about him, Rocket?
You think he's pretty good? I think he's pretty good.
Think about
Oh
that
my
pitch. It was unbelievable. It was terrible.
I'll never get over it.
It ruined the game.
It ruined my life.
But once again, we appreciate you coming in this morning.
Thanks for
We'll do
having me,
this
guys.
again soon.
Yeah.
Just make it a weekly.
Yes,
If you
we might as
can.
well. You'll do it every Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
I can do that.
Do it weekly with Johnny. It's every Friday at 8 a.m. So make sure you're
We need
tuned
to get
in
him
every
in
week.
for Sports Connections too.
And athletic connections.
Athletic connections.
Yeah, well, that would be good.
It has to be
I
sports.
feel like that's
'cause
cheating.
Yes.
The actual connections, I'm so bad, bro.
Yeah, we struggle there too.
I'm awful.
The chat's great at it. Like
Yeah.
it helps when we have the however many people in the chat giving us the answers.
Yeah.
So